So we're going to show you today on how to basically put in new wiring for our SSROV or junction box ROV and seal it up to be water resistant again through this junction box. So the things we're going to need, you'll have your wires from whatever new component or device you have going. You'll have your twist ties, and those will come towards the end. The important things are going to be your sealant. So a nice little marine sealant or a caulking or anything will work just well for you. And then we've taken apart the little dowel kind of restrictor valve that the wires will go through and screws in and it connects with this. Now starting out, you are going to want to drain the mineral oil that's in here, and you're going to want to wash it out using just standard dish soap and water. That way you remove as much oil as possible to create the best type of seal. Alright, so we've washed out our parts, our dowel. First thing we want to do is get the assembly back in, so we'll put this guy in first. And you will want to wrench it down to make sure you've got a good seal at it. If you got it mostly tight, you can always do that at the very end and you're not twisting wires. So there we go. Okay, so that's set. Now the more important thing now is the sequence in which you are basically threading these wires and putting it all through the component. So first you want to take any wires you have coming through and make sure that you've got them cleaned off as well. You're going to put the twist dowel with the basically open side, not the threaded side, exposed first. Okay, because this is what is going to singe down and constrict your gasket when it's in there. So next, take your gasket. It can go either way. There is a divot on one side, or you could use that one, but I do like having the divot be the first side that comes through. So we'll put it through one set, and then the other. Okay, so we're set there. So we'll put our wires through the little black dowel, get them in there until they're coming through. Now you're going to want to pull these through with enough space that you have to where you can basically make sure they're making contact with the other wire, and again using your little blue piece, but you don't want to put too much in there, because then you're just stacking up wires and
since I
it's
know it'll
unnecessary.
still feel comfortable to see in that corner.
We'll say
So wires are through.
we've pulled through. Here's our one, here's our two. So I will probably for this pull it right about there at that length, since I know it'll still feel comfortably, say, in that corner and be that. So wires are through. We're going to take this yellow piece and get it in all these teeth of that dowel. And you're going to want to make sure you check all the way around, just so you're not bending teeth in or grabbing it incorrectly. And make sure it's kind of seated in there. Alright, and next, just to get that dowsing done, we'll roll this part up, and then we'll just start screwing until we see that it's restricted enough through there. So you see, as we singe down, that little part's going to start constricting on itself and around those wires. So we'll do it enough not to deform the gasket there. but just enough to make it snug. And then when we put the caulking in, we know it's not going to drip out. So right about there, it's probably good. So again, we got wires in, bring it down. So again, the next part, take your kind of marine sealant, and what we'll do for this one actually is, thinking about it now, we won't want to restrict this all the way down because we do want to pull the wires up and down to make sure that it's coming through. So it's actually got a little play there. So what we'll do is we'll just leave that be where it is. Maybe take a few turns off, go there. So marine sealant, we're just going to take it off. At this point, we're ready to put our sealant in, so we'll stick the sealant nozzle all the way down as far as we can get it, and then we're going to slowly compress to where you know you're just getting a little bit, like a teaspoon or so each time. And then each time you do a teaspoon, you take your wires, depending on what you have going, you just work the wires around, spread them apart, and just keep working them back and forth. That's really going to allow the sealant to get down in between the wires and any of those spaces, and it's also going to remove the air bubbles that are coming there. So after you do that a few times, get your sealant in, work your wires around. You'll see the sealant start to come towards the top. So at that point, what you need to do is, if you take your wires and gently, slowly go up and down, you're going to start working that sealant into the gasket and the wires as well. And so when you've got it again up there and it looks like it's good and filled just about to the top, that's where you can finally just do the last few turns and squeeze that off. And then you are essentially ready to do your wiring to your desired tether wires for your power and communications.